안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-food, K-everything. And we'll do all of that with our co-host Walter Lee in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Seoul, and hello, everyone. Make sure you stick around because I've got some great K-entertainment news ready for you.
And we're also joined by our news features reporter Park Kwon-woo. Welcome.
Hi, and hello everyone. I'm Park Kwon-woo and I'm back with some more fun news.
Right, Kwon-woo, it's just a little past lunchtime, and I think it's a perfect time to have an afternoon snack, maybe a traditional snack, maybe with a modern twist. I won't give out any more hints. What are you going to share with us today?
So I think you did give a lot of hints already. So I did bring a topic related to Korean food. And as you mentioned, even though we just had lunch, it's always fun to talk about the world of food. It goes on and on. Now let me ask you guys first. Are you guys big fans of rice cakes?
Rice cake, oh, tteok, yes.
Yes.
I love sweet rice cake, but I also like tteokbokki.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. I'm also a big fan.
Glad to hear that, because it's not just us who are enjoying this rice cakes, but many people all over the world are also enjoying them. So before I dive deeper, let's take a closer look at how rice cakes are being embraced globally. Chewy, bouncy Korean rice cakes are gaining global popularity. And it's not just on their own, but also in dishes made with them, including tteokbokki or spicy stir-fried rice cakes, along with the growing presence of Korean content. Tteokbokki was even added to the Oxford English Dictionary last year. As interest in rice cake grows, foreigners are finding ways to make their own. One way for visitors to Korea is by taking one-day cooking classes.
I've seen many related videos with always these kind of platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and I always wanted to try them. They're becoming a boom right now because everybody wants to know more. And
these classes are getting even more popular than before, to the point where they fill up within a day of opening.
Foreign visitors, they're really hugely fan of Korean staple food of rice cake. So we decided to hold this class regularly. I think Korean food has always been a big trend, and I think also in the rice cake they added more of the global potentials here.
Back at their homes, people are getting more creative, inventing their own recipes instead of just following the originals. One example is the viral Kulture cereal that even made its way back to Korea. So this is the Kulture cereal that started going viral on social media outside Korea. All you need to do is pour milk to these rice cakes. Now I'm going to try it myself to see why this has gained such popularity. Who made this? It's so good. Along with this trend, rice cake exports have grown rapidly. According to South Korea's food ministry, exports exceeded $91 million in 2024, around triple the figure from 5 years ago. An expert expects continued growth, citing specific factors.
Rice cakes are tailored to local tastes, easy preparation, and a shelf life of over a year have boosted exports. The global market will continue to trend toward convenience and health-conscious foods as they are now.
He also said establishing local distribution networks globally will be key to maintaining the momentum.
Kwon-woo, I think you could, as a second job, you could become a mukbang YouTuber.
I always dream of it.
Well, so how was the gultteok actually, the cereal? Because I actually haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, it did look actually quite good, the way you actually were like, it was nice.
So just as you guys all mentioned, ever since I was a little kid, I've been a big fan of the gultteok itself. So eating it as a cereal was also really good, as you saw through all my facial expressions and everything during my report. But at the same time, I also thought it might not be the best idea to eat all at once because it might, just spike your blood sugar levels.
And you also shouldn't underestimate the calories because sometimes tteok can actually be the main ingredient of a whole dish, such as for tteokguk or rice cake soup or tteokbokki, of course.
Yes, I imagine there's a lot of calories just in that one bowl of cereal. Now, I've heard that the invention of recipes like the cereal you just mentioned is part of a growing trend in the food industry these days. Can you tell us some more about it?
Of course. So everything, the phenomenon is behind these cases is based on what's called modisumer, a blend of modify and consumer, meaning that today's consumers are consuming such products in their own unique ways. In the case of the 꿀떡 cereal, that's not traditionally how Koreans would enjoy the cereal. I mean the rice cakes.
The rice cake, right.
But what's even cooler is that as the recipe went viral on social media, certain Korean snack companies started creating these rice cakes specifically for those cereals, and with plans to export them later on this year. Another case of the modisumer trend that you guys might be familiar would be 짜파구리, also known as ramdon from the global hit movie Parasite.
Right, that one I guess all of us have tried before. But before you go, Konu, any last rice cake recommendations you can give to our viewers? Do you have your own modisumer recipes?
Yes, I have plenty of them.
Oh.
But just to give you some ideas today, I want to share how I enjoy 가래떡, the white round stick-shaped rice cake that are also used to make 떡볶이. They are good on their own, but I would recommend you to, grill them in a frying pan and then rolling them until they get brown and crispy and everything. Then you dip them in honey, and that's just game set. Another great way to enjoy them is by wrapping them in kim, dried seaweed, which gives it an extra kick. Also, adding sliced 가래떡 to Korean soups is another way I enjoy them. So I recommend you try adding them to your ramen. I'll bet you'll love it.
Oh, that's going to be my breakfast menu for tomorrow, Konu.
Yeah, hungry.
Well, thank you very much for that interesting topic today, Konu.
Thank you, Connie.
Of course. See you.
And now time for our daily dose of K-entertainment news with Walter Lee. Walter, we're going to start off with a new K-pop album release.
That's right. So we talked about him in the past, but G-Dragon is making a comeback with his third solo album. Can you believe 11 years and 5 months since his previous solo album? Now, on Tuesday, the Big Bang member announced the release of his third studio album, Übermensch, by posting a teaser video on his official fan social media page. Now, so, du sprechen Sie Deutsch? You speak German, right? Like, what does Übermensch mean in German?
Das Konzept Übermensch wurde entwickelt von Friedrich Nietzsche.
So, in English?
It's a concept, it's a philosophical concept by Friedrich Nietzsche, and it would, word by word, it would translate into over and human, so you can think of it as Superman or an ideal human.
Well, that's exactly the reason why I think that G-Dragon would name it this thing. It's a very G-Dragon-ish thing. So, as I mentioned, it's actually been like 11 years and 5 months since his last solo album, which is Coup d'Etat, which is also from a different language, which was released back in September of 2013 and contained the very popular song Crooked. Now, since his return to the music scene, G-Dragon has been dominating the charts with his release of his digital single Power, as you can hear in the background, of October last year. November, he collaborated with his other Big Bang members, Taeyang and Daesung, on his new song Home Sweet Home, which continues to top the charts. The song actually secured the #1 spot in Melon and Genie's monthly charts for 2 consecutive months.
And it's going to be out on February 25th, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Can't wait for Übermensch.
Yes.
Walter, also, I can't wait to continue with this specific Netflix series. Tell us more about it.
Yes, so the Netflix series that has been making waves is the Trauma Code Heroes Call, starring Joo Ji-hoon. Now, it has overtaken Squid Game 2, would you believe, to become the most watched non-English TV program on the streaming platform. Now, according to Netflix's official top 10 site, on Wednesday, the Trauma Code recorded 11.9 million views, which is a total of 82.7 million watch hours in the 5th week of January. That's January 27th to February 2nd, ranking first among non-English TV shows. Now, previously, obviously, that was held by Squid Game 2, which had maintained the top spot for 5 consecutive weeks since since its release on December the 26th, but that dropped to second place with 5.2 million views. So it's actually been a great time for Korean productions on Netflix, as among the top 10 English TV shows, 4 of them are from Korea.
Wow, it's really great to see that Korean series are so strong on Netflix. And we're actually going to wrap up with Netflix because just in time for Valentine's Day, there's going to be a series coming out soon.
Yes, with the most romantic day of the year just around the corner. What better way to spend it with with a drama with your love interest or your partner, whoever it may be. I'm talking about Mellow Movie. Now, it's not a movie, it's actually a romance drama series that follows 2 ambitious young individuals striving for love and success as they cross paths and inspire each other and overcome personal hardships. Now, the series stars Choi Woo-sik, who's best known for his role in Parasite, who we talked about just before, and Park Bo-young, who recently starred in the drama series Light Shop, which I talked about not too long ago. Now, Mellow Movie is a 10-episode series and will be released in its entirety worldwide on Netflix, like we said, Valentine's Day, February 14th, so keep an eye out for that.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Walter, for those K-Enter news, and stick around.
Will do.
And now let's take a look at what our AI anchor Ari has for us.
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. The Culture Ministry will establish a K-content fund worth around 600 billion won, or roughly $413 million this year, to attract domestic and foreign investment in the content industry. This initiative includes a $345 million K-content and media fund to drive large-scale domestic investment, and a $69 million Global League fund to attract foreign capital. As part of efforts to further support K-content exports, the ministry will expand the number of overseas business centers from the current 25 to 30. Nearly 70% of the ministry's annual budget will be allocated in the first half of the year to ensure swift policy implementation. Korea's art auction market saw an overall downturn last year, with increased polarization. According to the Korea Art Authentication and Appraisal Research Center, total sales from 9 major domestic auction houses reached roughly 113 billion won, or around $78 million, a 25% drop from the previous year. High-value pieces accounted for about 22% of total sales. The center attributed the market slowdown to the global economic downturn and political uncertainties, highlighting a widening gap between high-end and mid to lower-priced artwork transactions. Chungju City in Chungcheongbuk-do Province is now inviting applications for an extended stay tourism program. Only Stay Our Chungju. The program will offer partial travel support for 5 selected teams, covering accommodation and activity costs for a 7-day trip in the city. Individuals can receive up to 370,000 won, or roughly $255, while groups of 4 can apply for up to 1 million won, or nearly $690. People living outside Chungju who are passionate about promoting Chungju's tourist attractions on social media are eligible to apply. Don't miss out. Applications close next Monday. For more details, visit the city's website. That's all for now. Keep it tuned to the Culture Wave.
The impact of artificial intelligence is being felt across all kinds of industries, and the film sector is no exception. AI technology makes it possible for directors to create movies and TV series in just a few days, and it's also said to have the potential to change production methods and even content itself. To delve into this topic, we're now connected to Jae So, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. Hello, Professor So.
Hello, Professor.
Hi, nice to remotely be with you guys.
All right, perfect, as we're talking about artificial intelligence and so forth. But Professor So, very timely with our topic today. Just yesterday here in Korea, a partnership was clinched between ChatGPT developer OpenAI and Korea's tech giant Kakao. Now, OpenAI chief Sam Altman praised Korea's AI adoption rate and expressed high expectations for the country's AI market. Now, we want to delve into this market within the movie sector, where it is already showing significant presence. So at what stage is AI technology in terms of filmmaking, Professor So?
Well, I think it's very obvious that Sam Altman from OpenAI, he's the inventor of ChatGPT, which came out in 2022, using, the large language model system. And really, I would say, that's akin to like the iPhone coming out with Steve Jobs, so basically it's really like accelerated AI technology in terms of everything from business to the way society is run. And now, as you mentioned, with movies as well. And right now, in terms of filmmaking, we've already had forays into it from the sort of the early 2000s, where I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago during COVID, there was like the deep fake technology that came out that started to really basically mimic people's faces. So that technology is AI based. And also now, basically there's an AI boom in terms of all the movie makers trying to make it, because I think everything from script writing to production itself, they're trying to cut down on costs. They're using these AI models to enhance filmmaking in a way that's never been seen before.
Well, talking about AI, can you actually give us what you think is you think there's the most, I guess, your favorite example of the different AI tools used in making films, which are most promising, the most promising technologies, and also would be some of the limitations or even controversial tools?
Well, right now, we have tools like, through ChatGPT and OpenAI, they have Sora, and then you have Runway, things like that, where people are making a lot of not only photoreal photographs, but also photoreal high resolution quality videos, so motion picture basically. And so in Korea there was a director last year. He made a short film called One More Pumpkin, which was a huge hit in YouTube, and basically it was created in just 5 days without using a camera or production costs. So those are things that are doing, but right now the technology is a little, starting in its infancy, so you can't really do a full feature length. Although I heard in India there's a film coming out like that, but there, examples would be like, last year's sci-fi film Wonderland used AI technology for basically voice, and also creating Kongyu as a AI character, and also, there's a TVN drama called Queen of Tears, where a scene in the second episode where Hong Hae-in, played by actor Kim Ji-won, sees an illusion of herself walking through a snowy forest. Those were all generated by AI. So AI is now being used, I would say, for all aspects of filmmaking, from script writing to visual effects to post-production and sound design, and also distribution and marketing.
Now, Professor So, speaking as an educator yourself, I would also be curious about how AI is impacting how you teach about the movie industry and having these new elements here.
Yeah, well, this is sort of my field, I guess, because recently I was at a seminar by Mitak, which is a Korean production film association, and basically we did sort of a seminar on AI and filmmaking and creativity. And there's a professor that I had a good conversation with from Loyola Marymount University, and he teaches basically AI technology in the classroom for film business and also screenplays. And what I found really interesting is when AI first came out, I think a lot of my colleagues and a lot of professors in Korea were really afraid that students were going to use AI to cheat the system. So if there's an essay or some sort of test, that they'd be using this technology. And of course, students did go into that thing. And so there were even, some professors even went as far as to, find sort of software that can find AI, usage in a student's work, things like that. But I think we've kind of gone past that a little bit. And that professor from Loyola Marymount, he was using AI in a way in education where, the students had to use AI to solve a problem. And his way of grading was basically how the student used prompts in, basically ChatGPT or Runway or any of the script writing tools. And basically, so he found it that it was enhancing the students' creativities, not hampering it. And also our initial thoughts that AI would be used only to sort of copy things and basically not really help students learn, but it's a cheating tool. But now, there are really creative ways to use it. And I think in film, more so than any other areas, it's definitely a creative and sort of like a new field that is opening up. And a lot of students that are using artificial intelligence in their works are getting work, and there are people in the industry that are seeking people like that as well.
That's interesting. So because that would mean that actually AI can help even boost your creativity, the humans' creativity.
Yeah, it is quite interesting.
If used right, yeah.
Yeah. And you said yourself, Professor, that AI is in its infancy in the movie industry, and especially here in Korea, the film industry here as well. So do you see the potential for AI movies to become mainstream in the domestic movie industry itself?
Well, a few years back, there was the Hollywood, it was not even a few years back, I would say like 2023, 24, where there was a Hollywood strike, basically a writer's strike and actor's strike against basically, fighting with the studios in America. And basically one of the big issues of that was use of AI, how to use it correctly. And so, production companies might, decrease the cost of paying an actor. They would use an AI tool instead. And this is a big factor in Korea because so far the rules are very loose. So I think in a way, as you mentioned, it's in its infancy, but I think Korea is now aggressively going after. I think Sam Altman coming to Korea was not only about seeking Korean technology, but they know that Korea is the land of, Squid Game, K-pop, Parasite. So he knows that a lot of content is being created by a lot of really imaginative, creators in Korea. So I think the way, this is becoming a mainstream type of thing is now in its infancy state. Right? I wouldn't say like you can make an AI movie 100%, but I think, for example, I was talking to a company named A Story. They did, shows like Uyong-woo, and, they're a content provider and production company. And they were starting to use AI to basically, make a trailer to pitch to a company, and they were boasting to me that they actually got funding from a big, Hollywood vendor. So I think, these are examples where AI technology is used sort of in a short form format, but instead of going out to spend hundred thousands of dollars to make small trailers, basically you have somebody in a room using a computer to do that.
So now you did touch upon this slightly, Professor So, about the creativity and storytelling in movies and AI's impact there. Now recently, director Bong Joon-ho mentioned that there are areas in screenplay that cannot be written by AI. Do you agree with his statement?
I wholly agree. I read that article too, and I think he said something like he's losing sleep because he's trying to write a screenplay that an AI can't write. And right now in screenwriting, and also just writing, anything, a creative story, AI is a little behind. I use it also to write screenplays, but I'm always fighting with it because you have to really keep giving it the right prompts for it to generate something. But it's almost like working with a genius and an idiot at the same time, because when you use prompts, it starts to go in its own pattern. And you have to constantly fix it to the point where you're just going, okay, you know what? I'm not going to use this. I may write something creatively and check on it. But right now, AI, 100% use of it in creative storytelling, I think it's in its infancy. But one of the things that's really interesting, there was a New York Times experiment last year where, basically they had a writer, up-and-coming writer, and she taught AI how her writing style worked because she inputted all her novels in there, and they wrote 2 short stories together, and they asked the audience, basically the readers, to see which one was written by a human, which one by the writer. And you could tell pretty much that the writer's version was much better, but the AI version was really close. But you can tell that, some of the uses of adjectives and creative uses were kind of almost esoteric. And so you could tell a machine did it. But I think that's right now in 2025. I would say in about 10, 15 years, I don't know what's going to happen. And one of the things that the writer was sort of marveling at is it took her basically a week to write the short story. AI did it in basically, 10 seconds or a minute, under a minute, something like that. So the powerful tool aspect of it is definitely worth using.
And you touched upon the writer's strike, obviously, and that was to deal a lot with the legality things of the situation. So let's talk about how to deal with the legal and ethical issues of AI-generated creations that are often linked to, obviously, copyright issues. Are there any related laws in place either in Korea or abroad that you know of?
Well, abroad, there are many laws for it. For example, even, OpenAI, Sam Altman got in trouble the other, I think it was last year where, he started to put voices with the ChatGPT and, he asked Scarlett Johansson because she was in a movie by Spike Jonze called Her, where it's about a guy that falls in love with an AI operating system. And basically her voice was the AI voice. So he naturally approached her and she said no. And then he hired a voice actor that sounded like her voice. And so she was threatening to sue. Sam Altman said sorry and dropped it. So we do have this system where, basically AI is what AI does is it has a huge database where it uses things that have already been written by other people or creators that it did not create. So it's using that database. And there are a lot of sort of issues with copyright infringements about, what's going to be done about that. So the rules are now being written. For example, for screenwriting in America, an AI could actually create a novel. But if you make a movie version of it, a human has to write the adaptation. That's written in their rules. So the rules being sort of made, but at the same time, the usage of AI is being so, in diversifying and changing, ever changing all the time that the rules are almost obsolete, basically 6 months later. So we're catching up with that. But basically, what we want to do is protect the sort of the property, the copyright property of the original writers. If you use some of their works to incorporate into the thing, you should be paid for that. But I think, it's the same issue that we had with music and things like that, that it's always like, basically, is it really, do you have to pay the original artist if you're using their music for remixing into your new music? But in music, you do. So I think the laws have to come in to protect the original source material. And then, AI could use it, but they have to pay.
Let's hope that we will have all of these laws ready as we are having this fast development of AI. Now, our final question, Professor So, an issue that actually could be discussed for hours, but for today, just briefly, given the existing limitation and challenges, how can humans and AI coexist effectively in filmmaking?
I think you guys touched upon it today. Basically, we need some really good laws, rules so that, we aren't stealing. The whole thing about this is that you want to give the right sort of either a nod to somebody if it's homage, but if you start to lift material from different people, that's a major problem. But at the same time, AI is an unbelievable, powerful tool. If you put it into the right hands, you could really use it more imaginatively. Also, it could really lower costs. I know that, a lot of streamers like Netflix uses algorithms, generated by AI to really track audiences and things like that. So I think the film industry in Korea is right now in sort of a in a rut. We, a lot of people are not going to the cinema. So I think maybe using AI technology to try to get the audiences back into the cinema by creating more, interesting movies, and things like that is another sort of avenue to pursue. But I think in the right hands, in the right way, under the right rules and laws, I think we could really see a sort of a boom in the film industry that we haven't seen in a long time.
All right. Thank you, Professor So. That's all the time we have today. Thanks for sharing your insights for this very interesting topic.
Thank you, Professor.
My pleasure.
And thank you, Walter, as always, for your contribution. We'll see you back next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave, and hope you join us again on Thursday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day in Korea.